Welcome back to PR and Test Drive. I'm James, and this is the 2025 Acura Integra Elite A-Spec. Now, my first experience with the Integra platform, I was absolutely spoiled. I got to take a look at the Integra Type S, and I constantly tell people that that is one of my top 5 vehicles that I've ever driven. So naturally, when this Elite A-Spec came on my radar, I really wanted to try it just to see if it had any similarities with its, more expensive, more rare kind of brother in terms of the Type S. Because any little feature or any little similarity to the Type S, I knew I was going to really enjoy. I gotta tell you, this A-Spec Elite really fits the mold of your luxury with a little bit of performance mixed in there, so it's not an absolutely just a boring luxurious car. It's got a little bit of speed and luxury combined, so I've really enjoyed my time with it. Now, the price for it in Canada is right around that $50,000 mark, which is relatively reasonable, especially if you consider that it's an Acura brand. It's supposed to be a little bit more luxurious, so naturally the price is going to be a little bit more elevated, and I can't hate it for that. And I've got some thoughts on exterior and some of the drivetrain stuff, so let's just get on the road and take a look at it. All right, so on the road with the Acura Integra Elite A-Spec, and look, it has been quite the comfortable week, I will say. The Integra Type S is such a vehicle, right? It's just such a thing, and I was so spoiled, and I can't help but wish I was in that while I'm in this, because there is some similarities, but this is really good at just being a daily driver that is quick and kind of luxurious. So let's give it some beams here. Full throttle. Quite a bit of turbo lag. It felt like the turbo kicked in again as I was doing it, but still, it's an impressive amount of power for what this vehicle is. I mean, we've got the same kind of specs as the Civic Si. We're powered here by a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, giving us 200 horsepower, 192 pound-feet of torque. Exactly the same, like I said, on the Civic Si. This also does come in a manual transmission, just like the Civic Si, coming in only manual transmission. So I have the CVT automatic, which is like, when you hear CVT, you're just like, a little bit. I don't necessarily love CVTs. It's all right. It's okay the way they implemented it in this Integra here. Like, it doesn't perform that bad. It just, you notice the difference between a genuine, 8-speed automatic or even a dual clutch and a CVT. You notice it. It's night and day. CVT is always not going to be great. So I think I would choose this in the manual transmission, because Acura and Honda make phenomenal manual transmissions. So that's where I'd go with that. I've also got front-wheel drive. Of course, that's standard. It doesn't come in all-wheel drive, but that's okay. I think if you equip a good pair of winter tires, even with a front-wheel drive, you still be able to survive even the worst of winters. If you're careful and you've got some good tires under you, you should be okay. Now, all week I've kind of been telling people, or anybody that's asked me like what my early thoughts about this vehicle was it kind of takes the Civic Si and kind of evolves it. Now, I'm comparing it sort of to the Civic Si because of the powertrain, and some of the dynamics feel really similar because I just got out of a Civic Si like 2 weeks ago. So it's very close to me in terms of, just backlog of experience. And it evolves it in the way that, it still has all the speed. The handling is really good. This Integra is so darty. Like, the Type S is quite darty too, but it's impressive to also see the A-Spec be very darty. It feels very nimble. It feels like I can throw it around in corners and just dart in between things. It feels really good. I actually think it might feel a little better than the Civic Si, if I'm being completely honest. But the Integra A-Spec Elite is more luxurious. I've got adaptive dampers. It just feels a little bit more high quality, feels a little bit more upscale. I've got the red interior with these really comfortable seats. It just works, just makes sense. And I've also got adaptive dampers. So usually I'll drive in individual mode, which everything is in sport mode, and then the adaptive dampers are, of course, in comfort mode. So I'm always comfortable. My daughter in the back seat is always comfortable. That's kind of how I'll drive, and I like having that ability to have the comfortable drive and not just be stuck in, something bumpy the whole time. That's why I say, like, it takes the Civic Si, or what the Civic Si is, and kind of just evolves it a little bit and makes it a more luxurious brand, just like Acura is supposed to do. So another rip, here we go. There is that turbo lag there. Honestly, this vehicle would feel faster if we had a manual transmission, just because I feel like just because when I'm driving manual, I'm not so focused on the speed, I'm focused on the shifting, so it just feels like I'm going somewhere faster, and it allows you maybe a little bit more control than a CVT would. Even though I'm gonna have paddle shifters, I still feel like manual transmission is absolutely the way to go. In terms of road noise, it's a little loud at speed. You can probably hear some of it through the mic here right now. So that's one of the things that kind of was like, oh, I'm a little disappointed by it. I expected maybe a quieter cabin. It's not something you want if you have the Type S. You want, the noise to penetrate because you want to hear that exhaust. Whereas the A-Spec Elite doesn't really have that much of an exhaust sound, so I don't care if I hear it or not. So I'd rather it be more quiet in here. I'd rather hear the tires quite a bit. But overall, the driving experience is really fun. It's good at the daily stuff. It's good at the peppy, sporty, fun stuff when it's not raining. Obviously, when it's raining, it's you just want to be comfortable and you just want to cruise around, and it's perfectly good at doing that. Excellent at mall crawling. Not too bad on fuel economy, 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers, and I've done about 350 kilometers so far this week, so not too bad. 9.7 is a little high, but I'm always driving this thing in sport mode. I'm almost never in comfort or normal mode. I'm always in sport mode, so there is going to be that's going to affect my fuel economy just a little bit, and it's not a hybrid or anything, so 9.7, it's all right. Now let's talk about the interior. I already mentioned the red seats. They're so comfortable. I love the material. I love the mix of leather and this microfiber stuff. It just looks really, really good, and it just hugs me really well. It's got kind of like the bucket indent a little bit, and it just holds you really, really well. The seating position is really good. I like to sit lower in these vehicles, and I can absolutely do that in the Integra, and I love the visibility from here too. I don't feel like, I've got any weird blind spots, nothing like that. It has all been really, really good in terms of seating position and seating comfort. So even in the back seat, honestly, it's really comfortable back there too. I've got enough room as a full-size 5'11" adult. I can fit my daughter back there, all her stuff. Things fit in the trunk, like I said when we were talking about the exterior. So really, really good backseat room. No complaints really there at all. And the back seats are also heated, so that's a huge plus for our Canadian winters here. Now, next, let's talk about the steering wheel, because it is your main point of interaction, or your highest point of interaction, and so it's really important to have physical buttons. I've got them all over the steering wheel for my volume controls and my cruise control, lane keep assist, and adaptive cruise is all here, so that's really good. Again, plastic paddle shifters, but I don't really mind because we are in a CVT, so I'm probably not going to be using the paddle shifters that often here. I've got 2 sets of memory seat settings, a heated steering button right here on the steering wheel as well. The digital gauge cluster is really, really nice. It's the same as you saw on the Civic Si. I believe it's very close to the one that's actually in the Integra Type S, so very good there as well. It's digital. You can kind of customize the tiles or the little gauges in between to see what you want. You can see oil pressure, tire pressure, things like that. You can put it all in there, and it's all nicely laid out and easy to read, which is always important. Infotainment display is, I guess to some it would be on the small side, or I guess in today's standard it's on the small side. But for me, I do really enjoy the look of it. And I'm surprised it didn't get the Google treatment like the Civic Si did. But I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because I also like the Acura's infotainment. It's very simple. It's very much just sit down, start the car, and drive. There's built-in Amazon Alexa. There's also built-in Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you got that as well. All the settings and stuff like that are very easy to find, navigate, and understand. And so it's just very much a plug and play thing. Sit down, drive it. The settings aren't hard to find, not a lot's hidden. And that's pretty important as well when you just want something that's luxurious, yet simple and quick, kind of fitting all those boxes. So no complaints infotainment-wise whatsoever. And now I've also got physical controls for the HVAC stuff, and these switches and these buttons feel very premium, very Acura, higher standard, higher quality, so that's very good to see as well. I've got heated seats for the front passengers as well, so everywhere we've got heated seats all around the car. Very good news. I've got a USB-A and USB-C port, as well as a wireless charger. Classic shifter, nothing crazy, no dials, no buttons, nothing, just a classic. You know how to use it if you've been driving for a while. Completely normal. My individual sport mode button, my drive mode button. It's got an electronic parking brake, a brake hold. The cup holders are nice and deep, which I like. They don't get in the way when I'm, touching the gear shifter or just resting my hand on it. A little bit of storage in the red covered armrest right here, so that's completely fine as well. Nice little sunroof too, nice little touch. I like sunroofs. Usually when vehicles are missing a sunroof, even a small one, I notice like the change in light. I always have my sunroof open, or at least the shade open anyways, because it's raining. It would be a pool in here if I left it open, but you know what I mean? I like the way that it lets the light in, so great to have that here as well. And then we have the ELS Studio 3D audio system. It's not my favorite, but it is pretty good. It's a lot better than some of the basic Harman Kardon stuff. It has a lot more bass in it, and I do feel like it's very well tuned, and I think Acura have actually gotten better at it. I feel like every time I'm in this, in an Acura product that has the ELS Studio, I feel like it gets better and better every time, which is always good news, because I am very much somebody who likes audio. I like to blast music while I'm driving around, back roads, whatever. So I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not always filming. I do like to take these cars out and just listen to some music and really get a feel for it. And so when I have a great sound system, it just makes that time even better. So I've given you a bunch of positives and stuff like that. I guess my biggest negative thing that I would say about the Integra A-Spec Elite is that I'm not too much of a fan that it has the same drivetrain as the Civic Si. I feel like, if you just want the speed and you also prefer the manual, you could easily get away with the Civic Si. You could easily get away with spending way less on it, and you'd still have pretty much the same amount of fun. The handling's very close, and there's not enough in here. So I just wish there was enough like speed, or maybe an all-wheel drive variant of this Integra A-Spec to like really make you want to do it. Like, give it maybe like, I don't know, 230 horsepower, just something, anything to make it the deal just a little bit more sweet. It's a little bit faster than the Civic Si. It's also way more luxurious. So like, give me a little bit of that, because if not, I'm probably just gonna go with the Civic Si, because it's still a great vehicle. It's a Honda Civic, get a little bit of reliability there. Also, you get the reliability with Acura too, but when it comes to price, maybe you just want a little bit more. And I found myself like being like, man, I just wish I had just a little bit more. I don't want it to encroach on the Type S territory, obviously, and I think that's why Acura Honda have done this, but still, it'd just be nice to get a little bit more horsepower. But that's my only complaint. Other than that, it's a great family sedan, it's a great quick sedan, and it also has that luxury segment there, so it's really kind of tied all those loops together, and it's hard to complain about that. So next, let's take a look at the exterior design for our Acura Integra Elite A-Spec. Now, I think that it is still really nice design. Now, we don't have the fender flares that you get on the Type S, but really, this is still like a really, really clean design, right? The front daytime running LED lights look really, really nice, super aggressive. And honestly, that area, the front area, really does remind me of a little bit of the Type S. They kind of look a little similar. So I do really enjoy that when I'm walking up to it. Looks very aggressive. And I really just like looking at it from the side profile, which is usually rare. I usually tend to prefer the front or the back of vehicles, but the side profile for the A-Spec looks really, really good. I like the ride height and the profile here that we have. Looks really good. I've got intelligent door handles as well. Plenty of space to get in the rear. I'm not too much of a fan of the blacked out rims. I would prefer something a little bit more standoutish, because blacked out rims, you just don't see them on any car, especially when you pair it with a gray color. Looking at it from the back though, it does look really good. We've got some type of diffuser and a little bit of an exhaust look as well. Now I've also got plenty of trunk space as well, so that's also going to be very useful. It's kind of got like a hatch, so you kind of have the ability to put quite a bit of stuff in there. I actually had no problem during my week with it. So overall, design-wise, I still really like it. I don't feel like, if you can't get the Type S, then the A-Spec is perfectly great to look at, just stylistic-wise. So that is going to about do it for all of my thoughts on all of the Acura Integra Elite A-Spec. Look, it's natural that I find myself wishing that I was in the Type S, but it still doesn't mean that the A-Spec isn't good, because it really, really is. I really like the way that it's performed. I love the way it handles. It is just really good. And I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, the Integra Type S was so good that its predecessors or the things below it have to be, relatively decent, and it very much is. I think the Integra platform is really good. I love the trunk space. I love the interior design. Feels very upscaled, feels high quality, and that's what you're looking for when you turn from Honda to Acura. You want things to be upscaled. You want things to feel and look high quality, and Acura have definitely done that, at least from my thoughts. I want to know what you think, though. I really want to know what you guys feel. Do you feel like, why not? It has the same engine as the Civic Si, and the manual transmission would be better. Would you just get the Civic Si? Has Acura done enough for you guys to actually go ahead and, make the upgrade to the Integra? For me, I'd say yes, just because I kind of like having adaptive dampers and stuff like that. That one is a big one, especially when you have a daughter. You know, you don't really want her head bouncing around too much. And, you know, the Civic Si, while in the front seats, you're aided because those seats are really, really comfortable. The back seat, probably not so much. So for me, being able to adjust my dampers to comfort while still having the vehicle in sport mode is a big one. But I would definitely get the manual transmission, because the automatic, while convenient and easy to drive and not a hassle in traffic, and you can say a bunch of stuff about how it's good, just the CVT, I'm just simply not a fan of them. And that's not anything to do with Honda or Acura. I just don't like CVTs in general. I prefer the genuine 8-speed, or just a genuine DCT would be good, dual clutch transmission. That would be good. This dual clutch transmission would be really, really good, even if you kept it with its same engine as a Civic Si. I think dual clutch would be the way to go. But since we don't have that, I can recommend you get the manual transmission, because Honda, Acura make really, really good transmissions. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for this week with the Acura Integra A-Spec Elite. Let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure you like, subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one. With that being said, I will see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.